Questions for Coach now?
Yep.
Coach, I know you've had it all year long, but just give us one sentence about the team's defensive intensity tonight.
You know, I think I said it in the press conference or in here after the last game against Queens. You know, Lipscomb, man, the way they play, it literally challenges every principle that we talk about defensively. You know, when you want to be a good team, have good team defense, you know, it's about support, it's about ball pressure, it's about stance. And with them is if you get too much into support, too far into the gaps, if when you pass the ball to the big when he's at the top and you jump too hard, you know, boom, they're going back door, easy layup. And so I think the best way, not a sentence, it's a word, and I would just say menacing. That's how we want our defense to be. We want it to be menacing. We want it to be just absolutely uncomfortable for people. And I thought we did a good job of that tonight. You know, I think they ended up having 8 turnovers, and that's why I think they had a better second half than they did in the first half. We turned them over 6 times in the first half. We only turned them over twice in the second half. But I thought we were pretty dang on good when we needed to be.
Coach, Alex Peterson did not miss tonight. 10 points and 6 rebounds in just 17 minutes. What did he mean to you guys tonight?
I've said this before. For a guy that started, I think he started every game his first year for us. And that was the 5-win season. People forget about that, right? Which I'm okay with. But when you have a guy like him, like Alex, that can come off the bench, and again, it's not about providing you where you miss, where he makes every shot, he makes every free throw. You know, you know what you're getting from him every day, right? He is a grown man. I think he's 24 years old. And when you look around college basketball, you know, the older teams like that, you know, man, they're successful because, again, those guys know how to manage their time. They know how to manage their emotions. And they're an extension of our staff out on the court. So it doesn't surprise me one bit because he works just as hard as anybody, right? But the best thing about Alex Peterson, DeMond Robinson, Cole LaRue, they talk about being a 3-headed monster, but being one, right? So the other night it was DeMond, right? Tonight it was Alex, and when you look at it, our big group still had 19, right? And so DeMond didn't have to get 20 tonight because Alex helped him out. So it's always great having him, man.
Coach, when you went to that small lineup, they came back in the game and brought it down to 2. What were you telling the team during those timeouts to keep their head in the game and to keep them focused?
Man, I told them, I'll be honest with you, Glaze, I told them, I said, man, guys, this is where hard is, we're at home. Like, seriously, like, we're at home, right? Like, I see people tweeting after the game, cardiac owls, right? I'm okay with it, right? I'm all right with it, you know, because to become a champion, you know, we've lost those close games before. We've blown a lead before, like we did tonight, you know, up 16, I think, at one point. And before, we would absolutely collapse. But it shows you, again, where we are as a program. It shows you how much growth that these guys have made over the last 2 or 3 years. And so I just told them, hey guys, we're at home. We're right where we want to be. It's nothing to put our head down about. We needed to get our energy back better.
Coach, I hate to ask you about this 2 games in a row, but free throws became a little bit of a problem. But like you said, it's just the moment you feel good, obviously, pulling out a win there.
Again, when you have kids that care, right? The hardest thing to do sometimes is get them out, like Terrell just said, is get them out of their own head, right? Like, because they don't want to miss them, right? Like, that's literally how I look at them. I don't get, like, some coaches, they'll be out there like, make the free throw. Hey, man, I know he don't want to miss him. He stayed in here for an hour and a half the other night and shot. I'm like trying to get him to go home after the game the other night. And he like, no, right? Part of it, right? And so it's not, I tell them all the time, it's not about what happens, but how we respond. And I thought the other night at the end of the Queens game, even though we missed all those free throws, we still responded and got stops. Tonight, when we did miss those the few free throws we did, we responded and got stops. You know, now we got to make them, you know, and I think we will, because when it's time, right? I can't remember down the stretch, but I want to say we may have been like 5 for 6 or 6 or 7 down the stretch. When they count, I'm good with it.
Coach,
I was sitting next to there was a scout from the LA Clippers here tonight. I was sitting next to him, and he was here watching the guy on Lipscomb, who we came to see.
Yep.
But he was impressed by two people on your team. One, Spencer Rogers, who he said he's going with the flow of the game, and whenever there was a big spot, I know you've talked about Spencer in his career, and he makes a big play.
Yep.
And then he was also impressed by you and how you held your cool, and he said you look like an NBA coach.
Well, I'm the Kennesaw State coach. That's who I am, man. I'm gonna be right here where my feet are, and that's great. But like Spencer, again, I can talk about that dude till I was blue in the face, but he's a pro's pro. It's who he is. I put him in that same group with Alex Peterson. You know what you're getting from him every day, right? And think about this, and I'm gonna tell him this tomorrow. But for him to be 3 for 5, right? 7 points, 4 rebounds, he had 2 assists, 0 turnovers. Most people will look at that stat line and they'll just say, oh, he had a good game. No, his presence alone, right, on that court, it gives everybody else confidence, right? It gives everybody else almost like a sense of security that when something does break down, or we need a basket, or we need an easy pass, or whatever it may be, he's there. Spencer Rogers is going to play professionally for a long time. At what level, we'll see. But that dude is a pro's pro, 100%.
Coach, Chris is a shooter. Had a rough night tonight, but you were standing about 1.5 feet from him when he let the 3 go at the end of the shot clock. What's going through your mind? What did you see?
I was Mike Breen Jr. Bang bang. That's what I said. I gave him 2 bang bangs. And whenever Mike gives those guys 2 bang bangs, in the NBA game, it's a big deal. But again, Chris, it's all about preparation, and luck comes from being in the right place at the right time, but being prepared. And so, the best thing about that shot was, he didn't have to think about it. The other ones, he's catching it now. Again, they care. They don't want to miss. And so they get so far in their head that it's like, all right, is this right? And the time he didn't have time to think about it. Naturally, who he is came out. Can't beat it, man. Can't beat it.
Coach, you came out of the locker room for a lot of years, and the stands weren't it's kind of empty. But tonight, these last few games, the crowd has been amazing. For you to be able to see what this community and the school getting behind you, what does it mean for you to see the crowds as they were these last few games?
Again, I go back to this. You know who I think about? I think about Persian Williams on my staff. Years before this, man, me and Persian, man, we would go out on campus on game day. We get T-shirts, hand them out, just find something, koozies, so on and so forth. But I think after Persian Williams, what I think about is I think about our marketing team. I think about our administration. We don't get that, right? Yeah, winning is a part of it, right? But the way that they got behind and got the word out, we had 2 young ladies standing out in the rain the other day, man, handing out flyers talking about the game today. It's a total team, department, university effort. Again, I said to you guys, that's not Coach Amir. It's not just the winning. It's everybody getting on board with that. Like, I'm looking at Sandra Sullivan. Like, these dudes work tirelessly to tell our story, right? And so we could win this game, and if nobody cared, if you guys weren't here, if they don't do what they do, if our marketing team wasn't, doing what they do, so on and so forth, nobody would ever know what's going on, north of downtown Atlanta. So again, it's about community. It's about everybody being able to do it together, and I'm just really appreciative that we have great people around here.
Coach, I want to ask you about Terrell. Finished with 20. You mentioned him going out and being able to put some extra time in after the game last game. I mean, just his ability in moments where things may be a little bit chaotic to be able to kind of calm things down. I mean, is that something that is that maybe the biggest thing that you think he brings to the table, or what do you think kind of deals with him?
You need to go, everybody, when you get a chance, go give his mom and dad a hug. That's what you need to do, because that comes directly from them. It has nothing to do with me. It's all about how that young man is raised. Again, I've said this numerous times. I have challenged that guy every way possible. If you asked every one of our guys on our team who I coached the hardest, to a man, every one of them would say Terrell Burton. And so when he's brought up the way he's brought up, when he allows himself to be coached and held accountable the way he does, no moment is ever too big for him. So again, he's at home where it's uncomfortable. Like, it's home for him. It's really not uncomfortable to him because he's just okay right there. But the other part of it is too, remember, this kid didn't have a scholarship offer in April when he was coming out of high school. Do y'all hear what I'm saying to you? He didn't have a scholarship offer. How? And so he plays with a chip on his shoulder. He didn't forget that. And so he's going to be another guy that's going to be successful for a long time because he remembers where he came from. He knows how hard he's worked to get here. And at the end of the day, he's appreciative, like he said, of his teammates pouring into him and then allowing him to pour into them. My favorite guy in the world, man.
Coach, Sunday, I believe, will be the first nationally televised game in this building. How excited are you to be able to fully share the program that you've built with the nation, to allow them to see what you guys have become?
I promise you, I'm not just trying to say this